Hello friends, welcome to the fourth session of 5G New Radio Fundamental Series. In this session, we are going to learn about basics about 5G random access procedures. So let's get towards our slides. So the first question that comes in random access procedure is, why is it required? So for a UE to connect to a G node B or E node B, uplink and downlink synchronization between UE and E node B or G node B is required. So random access procedure particularly is required for uplink synchronization. Downlink synchronization is completely a different topic we will be having in coming sessions about downlink synchronization. For uplink synchronization, random access procedures is required. So what is the difference between LTE and 5G random access procedure? So the main concept of difference comes from the concept of beam forming, especially for mm wave in 5G NR. So here in 5G, the UE has to tune to the particular beam, whereas in 4G, UE was synchronizing with the cell. So beam level synchronization is happening in 5G. That is the main difference. Apart from it, most of the things are quite similar to LTE. So as we might have learned what are the contention based random access and non-contention based contention free random access, CIBRA and CIFRA. So let's just revise quickly. What is CIBRA? CIBRA is a contention based random access in which UE selects a preamble randomly from a pool of preamble shared with the UE. So this means that any two of three of UEs can select the same preamble, and this might cause a conflict or contention. So that is why this is called contention based random access. The G node B uses contention resolution mechanism to handle this type of request, but still there are some failures due to this conflict. So this is contention based random access. The next is contention free random access, in which the preamble is allocated by the G node B, and such preambles are known as dedicated preambles. So these dedicated preambles are either sent via RRC signaling, like RRC reconfiguration messages. When these dedicated resources are sufficient, the G node B instructs UE to initiate contention based array. Okay, when it is insufficient, the resources are insufficient. For example, let's say contention free is used for handover, as you might be aware. So a UE wants to perform a handover, and the G node B is not having any free preamble to be allotted to that UE. Then the G node B will ask UE to initiate a contention based random access procedure. So this is quite similar to all of those contention free random access processes, like for when DL data waiting, handover, and RRC state inactive to RRC connected state transition. In all these cases, random access is happening. So in these cases, contention free random access is happening. But if preamble is not free with G node B, preamble is not present with G node B, free preamble is not present, then G node B can instruct UE to do contention based random access. So the main four messages which are to be understood in contention based random access are namely random access request message 1, random access response message 2, uplink schedule transmission message 3, which is also known as RRC connection request sometimes, Message number 4, that is contention resolution message. So all of these messages are listed here, and sometimes during interviews people directly ask what is the message number 3 and what are the information included in message number 3 in random access procedure. So you should be knowing these messages by message number and message name as well. So please learn the names. The message number 3 is also known as RRC connection request as well as uplink schedule transmission. So for message number 1, so UE is sending to GNode B random access request. It is sending a preamble randomly with RARNTI, its identity, random access temporary identity. It is sending to the GNode B. What GNode B will respond with? GNode B will respond with temporary CRNTI, uplink grant, timing advance, and random access preamble ID, also known as rapid. So message number 2 contains uplink grant, temporary CRNTI, timing advance, and random access preamble ID. Message number 3 is uplink schedule transmission. It is sending the cause for connection, why the connection is required. So with the use of uplink grant received in message number 2, uplink grant is containing the location of uplink channel resources which is available for UE. The final message, message number 4, is your contention resolution message. So these are the 4 messages. So let's get into the details here. UE sends random access preamble to appropriate beam of GNode B with RARNTI. So there is a RARNTI calculation also. You can go on the internet and search. There is a calculation also. I'm not quite aware, but in 4G, RARNTI calculation was based upon the time slot in which the preamble was sent. So RARNTI was based on the time slot. But in 5G, we have to check what it is based on. But there is a calculation. It's quite bit of hectic calculation. So you can have it. After sending the random access request, UE starts a random access response window. Okay, so UE is sending message 1 and starting a window, random access response window, during which it should receive the message number 2, else it will start sending other requests. Like you have heard about the concept of power ramping. So if it is not receiving message number 2 during random access response window size, then it will start ramping up the power and sending message 1 again. So this is the name, array response window, random access window size, response window size. It is also a parameter in eNodeB parameters, you can see. Okay, eNodeB or gNodeB parameters. So this is the one parameter. So what happens during the random access response window size? The message, actual message, uplink grant, everything is sent in PDSCH, shared channel. But to know where the PDSCH is, where the resources are, the UE needs to decode PDCCH, DCI1. So UE starts listening to PDCCH, DCI1, and then it listens to PDCCH, DCI1, then it get the PDSCH resource block decoding, where the PDSCH is having the resources, where is it present. So this decoding is done. Once it is decoded, the PDSCH uplink grant information is received to the UE, and the UE is doing rapid comparison. What is rapid? Random access preamble ID. So whatever random access preamble ID was sent with message 1, that same message should receive via PDSCH in message 2. So the UE will be comparing message 1 and message 2 RAPID, then confirm that this message is for me only. Okay, so here I have included a diagram what is actually included in the PDSCH of message 2. So here it is temporary CRNTI, uplink grant of 27 bits, timing advanced, this is reserve bits, RAPID, which I said, message number 1, UE has already sent RAPID, and in message number 2, with PDSCH, you are receiving this RAPID again. So this comparison will be done. This is extended bit, this is type of what type of PDSCH resources it is having. Is it having a random access related info? Is it having backoff indicator? Whatever it is, backoff indicator particularly is having information like the utilization of resources. Okay, so this is the whole structure of PDSCH during random access response. It can also have this PDSCH can also have more than one UE's information as a message too. So that's why you need to decode PDCCH with DCI1 for decoding where the information is present. Uplink grant, what is there present in uplink grant? So uplink grant, so this is the second diagram, the bottommost in this video. So PUSCH resources in frequency domain and time domain is the exact location, so that during uplink schedule transmission of message 3, what PUSCH channel where it is actually present, so UE can use that resource. So it is given in uplink grant, the PUSCH time resources and PUSCH frequency resources. With the help of these two and this MCS coding and all these messages, the UE will send a uplink scheduled transmission message. Okay, as soon as the UE will send message number 3, it will start a timer, contention resolution timer. Within that time frame, if UE is not receiving message number 4, contention resolution message, then it will fail this whole process and reinitiate this process. So contention resolution message number 4 should reach the UE within the timer. So this is the mainly CIBRA messages, the 4 messages which are transferred during the process. So let's get toward the CIFRA, that is contention free random access procedure. So here it is a 3-step process as shown in the diagram. The preamble is already assigned by the G node B, so there is no concept of contention resolution. There is no contention. Okay, then random access request message is sent and then response is sent. Contention resolution concept, the 4th message is not required. So this is your contention free random access. Messages are almost the same, and wait just a second, I just forgot to include what is included in the message number 3. Like uplink schedule transmission, you have got the location uplink grant, that PUSCH location where you can send. So what to send depends upon what information, what message you are transmitting. Like if you are sending a RRC connection request, so you will be having different kind of information in this uplink schedule transmission. Like you are having handover related request, so you will be having different kind of information. RRC connection reconfiguration message, so you'll be having different kind of messages. So message number 3 is having different kind of information depending upon the cause. What is the cause of message number 3? What is the cause of your random access procedure? So it depends. So let's again go to the contention free random access. So contention free random access is having 3 steps like mentioned here. For handover, mobility control info is sent by source. Gnode B carries allocated preamble. So Gnode B is already sending the mobility control info, and in this info it can have that preamble. Normally RRC connection reconfiguration messages are containing the preambles also. So in case of DL data arrival also, the Gnode B instructs UE to initiate a RA, random access. NSA networking, as we have seen in the first session, NSA is your non-standalone architecture. So whenever a new radio cell is added to non-standalone architecture, the Gnode B instructs UE to initiate random access to the PDCCH. Okay. Whenever a 5G cell, NR cell, is introduced into non-standalone architecture, then also RACH process is happening. So what are the cases? Let's have a quick look. What are the cases in which random access are done, and what are the scenarios, what are the type? So initial IRC connection, you are having contention based random access. RRC connection reestablishment, you are having contention based random access. Handover, the first choice is to choose non-contention based random access, but if all the dedicated preambles are used, then contention based random access can be done. So it is applicable for all of the cases which are used in contention free random access. If Gnode B is not having, or Gnode B is already used, have already used all of these preambles allocated to Gnode B during CFRA, so it will guide the UE, it will ask the UE to initiate contention based random access. Like when RRC inactive to active state transition of UE is happening, so UE is inactive, RRC inactive state, and it is going to connected state, then also contention free random access is first choice. But in case all preambles are used, then it will be doing contention based random access. Okay, so whenever preambles are not there for contention free, you have to do contention based random access. Okay, so the main thing to study and get into details is these 4 messages. What are the information carried? Okay, and what are the timers? Like I said, RA response window size for message 1, after message 1 till message 2, for contention based resolution timer from message number 3 till receiving message number 4. So these are timers during which it should reach the UE. So apart from it, parameter are also there, like what is ramping step, what is initial power. So all these powers are there for random access optimization in 4G as well as in 5G. So once you are aware of all of these messages and all of these timers, then you can go and check in eNode B and cell level parameters, and you can have all this actual understanding of what these parameters do. So this is for your RACH procedure. Thanks a lot. Please like and subscribe my video, subscribe my channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.